begins here with something a little different this time. These aren't necessarily boss fights exactly, although one of them kind of is. But these are various encounters in the game that are all optional. They don't need to be fought in order to progress the storyline in this game whatsoever, but if you're trying to get all of like the little bits and pieces in this game, you know, like different embers, other equipment, shit like that, these are fights that you're eventually going to have to make your way into anyway. But yeah, I'll give you some backstory on each one and maybe a little explanation on how to beat them up. At any rate, let's watch me beat these guys like they owe me money. Alright, so here we have the Hydra. This isn't the only one that you fight. There's actually two that I know of that you run into in Dark Souls. And they're pretty much identical, except this guy here is bigger, more hit points, hits harder, and so on. So, the reason I didn't put them both in here is because both of these fights take about 4 to 5 minutes long, and I really wanted to save time, since the fights are pretty identical, except this one has a few more bits and pieces to it. For example, you'll notice that this Hydra is moving around a lot. In addition to actually moving around in this location, if you were to try and run away to like get further into Ash Lake, he'll actually uproot from his location, fly over to another open body of water around here, and then attempt to try and kill you from there. So it's best just to keep him in one spot, just, you know, let it ride right here. Aside from that, your gear selection for this, it doesn't need to be too complicated. You just need to be able to, like, hit his heads and, you know, soak some hits. You'll notice I got bits and pieces of different armors there, and quite frankly, I really didn't need to do that. I probably could have stuck with, like, a medium armor set and done perfectly fine, and maybe a heavier shield. So, you know, I could soak some hits and, you know, not get the crap kicked out of me so badly. Aside from that, one thing you need to watch out for is obviously when the fight initially starts, he shoots, I don't know, they look like, I don't know, water bubbles or some shit like that. Both of them do that. This one less so because you're in closer proximity to him when you finally see him. But those water bubbles, or whatever the fuck they are, they're actually physical damage. Initially, when I was trying to do this fight, I actually thought they were magic damage, but nope. You can soak them with a shield, and you can soak them with your physical damage attributes attached to your armor. So what I would suggest you do is get the biggest shield with the highest stability that you possibly have, that has somewhere between 80 to 100% absorption. Put that sucker up and just run straight toward him. And yeah, you should be able to close the distance pretty quick. I would also suggest finding cover, like on this one right here. You notice that I used the bamboo off to the left there to get some cover and not get hit by the water cannons or whatever the hell he's shooting at you. And on the other one, if you stay to the right of where you initially find that guy, or that Hydra, just stay to the right and use the trees as cover. You should be able to run through and close the distance without taking too much damage. One thing you need to watch out for in these fights is the Hydra doesn't attack in a set location. Whenever he goes to strike at you, it's always random. So as you cut off more of his heads, it starts to drag out the fight, make it a lot more tedious, because you don't know where he's going to go. So I would suggest packing something that attacks from range, like a bow and arrow, crossbow, and magic. Any of those should do the trick, and if you can lock onto them, all the better. And other than that, should be fine. It's not a super hard fight. It's just really tedious, and it takes forever. Okay, so here we have the Moonlight Butterfly. You get to this dude by going through an off. It's like an off path where you start meeting Stone Guardians for the first time. They're only located in the Darkroot area. I don't believe you see them anywhere else. But when you actually see like an open area that has a bunch of them lying down, you know you're in the right location. And you also notice there that I have a NPC Phantom with me. That's Beatrice. You can actually find her summon sigil right as you walk into the archway and start going up the stairs to fight this dude. You can actually, you won't actually see it, but her summon sigil is actually in a bush just off to the left of the stairwell, and you can pick that up right there. She makes this fight stupid easy because the Moonlight Butterfly has almost no resistances whatsoever. So just beat the tar out of it, yeah, like this. See? Super easy fight. You should have no problem with this whatsoever, so long as you can soak magic damage. Okay, so this is Dark Sun Gwendolyn, or, you know, the emo kid in Lord Gwyn's family. So, yeah, he was the last, and apparently he's all melancholy and shit. Anyway, you get to this dude. Well, first off, you have to go to the catacombs, and you have to make your way through there, and find a tomb that has the Dark Moon Seance Ring. When you find that, and you equip it, you make your way to Anor Londo, and the elevator that's in the center of Anor Londo that allows you to actually like cross the bridge there and get to the cathedral. If you take that, if you actually switch that all the way down to the very bottom, his bonfire and his statue are there, but with the Dark Moon Seance Ring, the wall with the statue on it actually disappears, and you can continue down there and go through the Great Gate there, like you just saw, and actually fight this dude. And it's an obnoxious fight. It's pretty annoying. He spends pretty much all of his time, like you've just seen, teleporting away and throwing magic spells at you throughout the entire fight. His resistances are absolute crap. Just get your favorite weapon and just beat the tar out of him as soon as you can close distance. While I don't have like the best armor selection here, I probably should have went with something else. Being lightly equipped will actually help you in this fight, as you can close distance a lot faster. I would also suggest bulking up on your magic resistance with your gear, and also bringing the Crest Shield, because that actually allows you to soak 100% of physical damage in addition to 80% of magic damage. So, not a bad shield to have for this fight. Pretty fucking awesome. Aside from that, like I said, his resistances are shit, and the one spell you really need to watch out for is the one that just whizzed past me there. Is that giant fucking soul arrow. That thing actually goes through solid objects, so you can't use the side pillars there for cover, trying to close distance. But yeah, it's just basically trying to chase this asshole down and beat him up, take his lunch money. Super easy. Alright, now we get to go beat up Lautrec. Now, if you don't know who he is, at the very start of the game, before you actually fight the Bell Gargoyles, there's a side room as you're going up the stairs to that fight, and Lautrec is actually in a prison in a side room, and if you release him and he makes his way back to the Firelink Shrine, you'll find him sitting next to the Firekeeper in Firelink Shrine. And if you don't immediately kill him, which most people would not think to do, if you get a couple of Firekeeper souls as you progress through the game, he'll get jealous and butthurt and decide to kill the Firekeeper at a Firelink Shrine and take off. And he leaves you, I think it's like a black eye orb or something like that. And unless you actually use that orb in this very location in Anor Londo, which is actually just after you cross the bridge, and it's in that main hallway right there with the royal brass guards, you won't actually be able to restore that Firekeeper and use the bonfire at Firelink Shrine. And unless you have some experience in fighting multiple bad guys at once, or you're reasonably decent at PvP, this fight's going to be a pain in the ass. I'm not going to lie, this probably took me about 4 or 5 times to actually get right, and even in this clip, I almost got my ass kicked being stupid. In terms of gear selection, I would suggest anything with some reach, as shield is pretty pointless when fighting Lautrec, because he uses 2 Shotal, which actually go around your shield. And in addition to that, if you try and swing at him from a reasonably close distance, he'll attempt to parry you, and because it's AI related, he'll most likely connect. So yeah, keep your distance, hit him with your favorite weapon of choice, and I would suggest taking out that spell or the sorcerer at the beginning of the fight as soon as possible, because the last thing you want is to be in the middle of a fight with these 2 assholes and get shot in the ass with a soul arrow. That is so fucking annoying. Oh man. Yay, another one down. The only thing that would make this better is if somebody was actually watching. Well, if you are, thank you. Do all that social, internet, media crap. You know, share this with your friends and tell them how awesome I am. And, I mean, if you have to lie, that's fine. Yeah, at any rate, stay tuned. More coming. Later.